Hello, welcome to the video. Before this video properly starts, I just want to say that I've been working on this script for about a week or two before the Vividan released his own video on Cope. For the sake of this video staying unique from this one, I decided to not reference or get any information from that video. Some of his older videos on Cope, yes, but not this one published in 2025. I highly recommend that if you haven't already, to watch that video after this one. Anyway, on with the video. Hello, welcome to the video. Earlier this year, we saw the publication of King Tyrant by Mark Whitten from Princeton University Press, alongside the 120-year celebration of Tyrannosaurus being named. Leading up to the publication of a mega video on Tyrannosaurus Rex, several videos relating to the King Tyrant and the world it lived in will be uploaded to this channel. To start this, we'll be looking at several notable Tyrannosaurus specimens throughout history, starting with the Copium Rex, or ED Cope BHI 6248 for those who are paleo nerds. As a brief history lesson, Edward Drinker Cope was an interesting character. He described over 1,000 vertebrate species, is the namesake behind Cope's rule of evolution, and is one of the most notable American paleontologists of the 1800s. He famously described Allometric in 1868, famously with the head on the tail rather than on its comically long neck. He also described fossil specimens of Tyrannosaurus that he named Manus spondylus giges, which has since been dubbed as a nomen oblitum, or forgotten name. Despite these accomplishments, not everything was sunshine and rainbows with Cope. Darren Naish in Dinopedia briefly mentions he was an appalling racist and sexist. Alongside that, starting in the 1870s and ending in the 1890s, Cope and fellow paleontologist Othniel Charles Marsh were involved in what has become known as the Bone Wars. Both Marsh and Cope used to be good friends, but by around 1873 they had grown to dislike each other. A lot cite an incident in 1870 where Marsh corrected Cope on his inaccurate reconstruction of Allometric. However, Naish also points out that Joseph Leidy originally corrected this issue, and Marsh didn't start telling this story until 1890. 20 years after the correction. Regardless, these two hated each other until they both died in the 1890s, but the Bone Wars left its impact long after their deaths. While helpful in getting us a bunch of fossil specimens of multiple prehistoric animal species, their taxonomic lunacy of trying to name as many new species as possible in a rush to outdo each other didn't help. As pointed out in the Mosasaur mega video, a good majority of Mosasaur species known in the late 1800s had been thrown out for not being valid, and that was just the Mosasaurs. A lot of people often romanticize the Bone Wars as a heroic period of discovery, but it's more so the case of short-term gains for long-term headaches, given how many species described became invalid. Overall, while maybe not the best pick for a paleontologist to have a fossil named in his honor, I don't think anyone expected one of the largest Tyrannosaurus specimens to be named after him. It's like naming the flagship of your country's navy after an extremely corrupt politician whose political decisions still affect your country in the modern day, decades after his death. BHI 6248, named ED Cope, was discovered in 1999 by Bucky Derflinger, a farmer and amateur fossil collector on a ranch in Perkins County, South Dakota. Cope was later excavated in the summer of the year 2000 by a field crew from the Black Hills Institute, which is where Cope is currently stored, hence the BHI 6248 designation. Going off of bone count, only about 10% of Cope's skeleton is known, but more of the skeleton might still be at the dig site and just not unearthed yet. Cope's site has also been speculated to be the place Edward Drinker Cope found the holotype for Manus spondylus giges. This could be confirmed via chemical analysis, since one of the two vertebrae that made up the giges material is still around, but as far as I'm aware, this hasn't happened yet. 2010 saw the publication of the Princeton Field Guide to Dinosaurs, one of Gregory Poole's most notable works. In this book, and its 2016 second edition, Gregory Poole had listed Tyrannosaurus as 3 species: Rex, unnamed robust species, and unnamed gracile species. In 2022, he had later become the lead author of a paper where he had named them Imperator and Regina. In this paper, Cope would finally get published measurements for his femur, which were shown to be gigantic. The measurements list Cope as having a femur circumference of 630mm, and in an Instagram post from the Mineral and Fossil Marketplace, first announcing the T-Rex specimen Goliath, they list a measurement of 633mm for femur circumference of Cope. By comparison, Scotty is listed in both sources as having a femur circumference of 590mm. I'd personally rather trust the scientific paper than the Instagram post for obvious reasons, but regardless, Cope is a big boy compared to what was previously considered the largest Tyrannosaurus specimen. Punching both femur length and circumference numbers into an allometric mass calculator I found online, this gives Cope a mass of between 10.4 and 10.8 metric tons. compared to 8.9 to 9.5 for Scotty, and 11.5 to 11.7 for Goliath. Currently, assuming Goliath is truly that large, BHI6248, ED Cope, sits at second place for the largest Tyrannosaurus rex specimen currently known. And yes, I will be publishing a Goliath video soon. Cope's size would get more widespread attention after the Vivid Den published a video on Cope in 2023, where he originally estimated Cope to be 2 metric tons heavier than Scotty, at between 10.6 and 12.4 metric tons. This upper estimate was later reduced, with Cope being placed between 11 to 12 metric tons by the Vivid Den. Cope is one of the largest Tyrannosaurus specimens known, and given the fact it was slept on for so long begs the question of what other big theropod specimens are hiding away in fossil collections, both private and public. If any viewers are working in fossil museums or other places that store fossils, I recommend scanning through and documenting measurements of dinosaurs big and small. Don't focus solely on big ones, the smaller specimens have their purpose in paleontology too. Data on all specimens matters more than a select few specimens. If you know anything about statistics, I shouldn't have to tell you that. While it's impossible for us to ever know exactly how big Tyrannosaurus may have gone due to various factors, Cope is an outlier in the sample we do have of T-Rex specimens. Based on specimens we have, Cope would be the Tyrannosaurus equivalent of those guys you see who are 6'6" and full of muscle. Basically, Brian Shaw in dinosaur form. Tyrannosaurus specimens like him probably would have hunted some of the larger animals T-Rex could have hunted, and do it easier than other, smaller Tyrannosaurus specimens. While we will never find the largest Tyrannosaurus specimen to have ever lived on Earth, Cope is one of the largest ever known and shows just how insane biology can get with wildlife. Anyway, that's all for today. Hopefully you will like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time I upload.